No! No! Breaking news, breaking news. Go get your popcorn, go get your chips, go get your family, go get your friends, your loved ones, and get around for the news that the Puncher's Point is about to drop on you. It seems that Jake Paul will be fighting Platinum Mike Perry July 20th in Tampa, Florida. Now, of course, y'all know he was supposed to be fighting Mike Tyson, which that is actually still looking to be happening, but in November. Thanks to Andreas Hale for dropping the news. Andreas Hale from ESPN dropped the news. It seems like that Paul will be switching opponents out. He will still be fighting Mike Tyson, but as far as it comes for the July date, he is looking to fight Platinum Mike Perry. So to those out there that may say, who is Platinum Mike Perry? Platinum Mike Perry is a former UFC fighter. Now he's a bare knuckle fighter. And let me correct myself, if I'm not mistaken, a bare knuckle champion at that, if I'm not mistaken. So, this is a very interesting situation. Now, of course, he's still a former UFC fighter, and y'all kind of know Jake Paul's deep history with UFC fighters, Ben Askren, Tyrone Woodley, Anderson Silva. Y'all know the history of this, but this might be a little bit different. Seeming that this guy, if you look at his highlights in bare knuckle fighting champion, the guy is a beast. He does have power. He does knock a lot of guys out, but this is the sport of boxing, not bare knuckle fighting. Two different sports, same format. One's with gloves, one without gloves. But that's just a small background about Platinum Mike Perry. Other than that, though, I'm gonna hand it over to my brother Mario.
Look, I'm gonna say this: Mike Perry's a dog. All right, say what you want about him, but that man is as tough as nails, and he's a guy that's just hard to hate. You know what I'm saying? If you go back and look at his interviews, you go back and see the way he interacts with other fighters. I mean, Mike Perry's just a hard guy to hate. You know what I'm saying? It always seems like he's in good spirits. Always seems like a very funny, charismatic guy. Now, there is a quote in this by Jake Paul, and I want to read it to you because I think this quote is pretty hilarious. All right. And I'm going to be honest with you. We're all going to look at this quote and our heads are going to spin. This is a quote, remind you, from Jake Paul. When Paul versus Tyson was rescheduled, I knew immediately that I wanted to still fight on Saturday, July 20th. Now, as I prepare for my fight against Iron Mike, there's no better opponent for me than Mike Perry. That was the first part of the quote. Just hang on. I know it's boring. It gets better. Ready? He's a proven knockout artist who has shown to be a maniac in and out of the ring. This is the perfect experience for me to gain in advance of facing Mike Tyson. Ready? It's coming. Just stay with us. Just stay with us. But getting that experience comes with risk. Those who know me know I am a risk taker. While Platinum Perry might try to end me, I'm Titanium Jake Paul, and I fear no man. I'm going to get the W and give everyone a preview of what I'm bringing to the ring against Mike Tyson. Tune on Day's own pay-per-view as I return to Tampa and send Platinum Perry, the platypus, back to bare knuckle for good. You heard it from him himself, Breezy. I mean, the guy only speaks truth. He's a risk taker, right? I mean, we're talking about look, now here's what I will say, okay? This one, I wanted to read that quote because it's so important. I wanted to touch up on a point. I'm not going to say Jake Paul hasn't taken a risk. Let me explain something. This guy was a Disney actor, made a bunch of money off of Disney, made huge money on YouTube, and he gained his popularity on YouTube. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to go step into the ring. Now, we've said it before, okay? We're not hypocrites on this podcast. We've said it before. Any man who steps into the ring, we got to give them some type of respect. Now, look, regardless of what y'all are saying, he's going up against 40-year-old UFC fighters. Look, most of us aren't willing to step into the ring with a UFC fighter. Most of us aren't going to step into the ring with Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz, no matter how old they are. All right. But Jake Paul did that. And for that, we got to give him some type of respect. Now, I know there's going to be people who are going to say those fights were rigged and all this type of stuff. Now, here's where I got to start calling BS. All right. After he started collecting a decent amount of wins, okay, he said that his main goal is to be a world champion. Did he not? Well, Last time I checked, you called out Canelo knowing Canelo wouldn't give you the time of day. You called out Gervonta Davis many times knowing that he wouldn't give you the time of day. You called out Ryan Garcia knowing that he was just going to talk your ear off and tell you what you want to hear, but he's not going to give you the time of day either. But here's the thing. There is a guy in your division named Jai Opataya who has what you want to accomplish. I haven't heard you call him out once. Billiam Smith, I haven't heard you call him out once. I mean, let's be real, Breeze. He could go up to, I mean, I haven't heard him call out those guys, and those guys have what he wants. It's like me saying I want to be on ESPN and me refusing to talk to James Patara, who's the chairman of ESPN. What kind of hypocritical BS is that? This is what I'm saying with Jake Paul, all right? I do got respect for him because he stepped into the ring and this guy put the time and the effort into boxing. Most guys, they go through one training camp, they have a celebrity fight, and then they just leave it for about 2 years, maybe come back and do it again for money. Jake Paul actually puts the time and effort into the gym, and I can respect that. It's the same thing with his brother Logan, okay? His brother Logan made a bunch of money off of YouTube, but yet he put the time and the effort into WWE. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Well, these guys have all this money, so they can do all that stuff and they can get the best trainers available. Yes, but you know what? Let's not slate people for having money, okay? It's all about what you do with that money. Some people choose to spend it on drugs and alcohol and all this type of other BS. They chose to spend it on something that they want to dedicate their life to, which I respect. But here's my problem, okay? My problem is this. You keep on talking about what you want to do. You're not taking the steps to go out and do it. You started fighting guys who had amateur background and guys who had okay records, and I was cool with that. A lot of people were saying he's just fighting trash in tomato cans. Well, your favorite fighters were doing the same exact thing. I'm saying that right now. And trust me, I'm not defending Jake Paul by no means. You started fighting those guys, and I was cool with that. I was okay with it because that's exactly the route that you would want to take to become a world champion. But then all of a sudden we get the news about you fighting Mike Tyson, who's a grandfather. All right. And then that backfires. So all of a sudden we go to Mike Perry. And Mike Perry is a dangerous fighter. So don't get me wrong. However, he's not a boxer. He has an 0-1 boxing record. I mean, I don't see what Jake Paul gains from this, man. I really don't. And my issue is this guy is not going to become a world champion unless he starts taking those steps and starts being serious about it and starts fighting guys that he needs to fight to become a world champion. Forget about Mike Perry, forget about Mike Tyson, forget about KSI, forget about Tommy Fury, forget about all of these UFC fighters, forget about Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, Canelo Alvarez, forget about them all. Focus on who is in that 200-pound division that you fight in, which is Jai Opataya, Billiam Smith, Badu Jack. Focus on them. Okay. That's all I got to say. But according to Jake Paul, he takes risks. That's why we haven't seen him in the ring with Jai Opataya yet. But that was just a little snippet of it, Breezy. I do want to get back to it and talk about it briefly a little bit, but I'm going to pass it back on to you.
Any Jake Paul fan, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to either close your ears or click off this video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, somebody tell him to get his behind out of here, man. What in the world he talking about? He talking about he taking risk and whatnot. You just shot out to about 200 something. You like Mrs. Puff from SpongeBob when she get bloated up in the middle of a car scene when SpongeBob be wrecking the car or whatnot. You look bloated up. You look like you fat now. You getting the tummy and whatnot. Your arms don't look the same. You didn't look like that your last fight and whatnot. So how you gonna talk about I'm taking risk by fighting Platinum Mike Perry? Last time I see Mike Perry look like he's about 5'7" and about the same size as my nephew. What are you talking about? I'm taking risks. And you think fighting a grandfather of boxing is taking a risk? You mean telling me you gonna fight a man that came out for surgery? That's taking a risk. If that's the case, then I done took more risk by you with playing with fire and whatnot. Okay? I'm taking a risk. That's not a risk, brother. In the words of Gervonta Davis, brother, that's not taking risks. You don't get to sit here and say you taking risk by fighting somebody that's damn near 60 years old. Look, I understand. You and your homeboys could be going out late at night, going to the nearest bingo hall, be handpicking old people to fight and whatnot. All right? Stop it. Cut it out. All right? Let them folks play their bingo in peace, brother. That's too much, okay? I'm fighting. And it's not even me to discredit Platinum Mike Perry because the dude is a dog. He got hands, but he ain't a boxer. You said you want to be a world champion. And like Mario said, you know Canelo ain't gonna give you the time of day. He's gonna say payday, 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 payday. Gervonta Davis don't take you or your brother serious. What about that little lineup that Eddie Hearn had for y'all? What about that lineup? You still ain't got in contact with Eddie Hearn about that lineup. You got Badu Jack, Jao Patai. What about your division, right? Because like I said, last time I seen you, you look bloated up and whatnot. You look like you look like you've been on it. You know what I mean? Your arms looking more hefty and hefty and hefty. You know what I mean? You built like a garbage can now. You ain't even look like old Jake Paul no more. You ain't even you no more. Like, come on. All right, Jake Paul fans, you can come back to the video. You can remove your ears. Well, no, I'm lying. Close them back up again. You full of ish, Jake Paul. You know that you was full of ish. I told you I'm getting tired of this man and his antics. All right, I'm getting tired of it. Look, the fact that you still trying to fight Mike Tyson, the fact that you still trying to fight Mike Tyson, even though he had that flare up talking about so this the greatest heavyweight of all time. When I wasn't even thought of, when me and Mario wasn't even thought of, that was he was the greatest heavyweight of all time. We in our 20s. We are in our 20s. Come on, Jake. Come on, Jake. Do better. Now y'all can remove y'all hands from y'all ears this time.
I think a lot of our viewership went down because the Jake Paul fan girls and fanboys, I think they left for a little bit. So that click-through rating is definitely going to go down. But you know what? Cover them ears back up, all right? Because I'm sick and tired of this. It's everyday bro type of stuff, all right? Because literally in boxing, it's everyday bro with this guy. This dude just don't stop. Like, I mean, I'm sick and tired of it. It like dude really like he explained it perfectly well when they asked him who's the face of the division. He said Canelo's the face of boxing, Gervonta is the chest, and I'm the ass. Yeah, you know shit, you're the ass. I'm sorry. Excuse me for my language, okay? Excuse me if you know. Most of our viewers are 18 plus anyway, but we don't like to cuss. Yeah, no crap. You know, duh, you're the ass. I mean, let's be real. Nobody takes you seriously in this sport. No one takes you seriously in this sport. And it's got to stop, bro. Look, I got respect for him stepping into the ring. I got respect for him going into the ring and fighting MMA fighters. Don't get me wrong. That's one thing. And if he just said that those are the guys I'm fighting, you know what I'm saying? And that's all I plan on doing, just fighting to make some money and, you know, fighting some UFC fighters, I'm cool with that. But the fact that you said this is where he buried himself. I want to be a world champion. You think you're going to be a world champion this way? Let me now look. Now listen, okay? If it was up to Jake Paul, this man would find the fountain of youth, jump in it so he could stay 27, 28, however old he is. I don't even know because I'm not a Jake Paul fan, to stay as young as he is forever, and then wait till Jai Opataya gets to his 50s and then say, I'm going to go challenge him. This is what Jake Paul would do. I'm sick and tired of this guy fighting middle-aged 40-year-old, almost 50-year-old, and some of them are almost 60. I'm sick and tired of him fighting these old-ass guys. No disrespect to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is my second favorite fighter of all time. I love the guy. But God, the man is 60-something years old. The dude smokes weed every single day. And I mean, the guy just had a flare-up. What are we doing, man? Like, this is, I don't understand it, bro. And you know what, Jake Paul? You can end it all. We will never say one bad word about you. All you have to do is retract your statement of saying, I want to be a world champion. Because to be honest with you, from what I've seen, you don't want to be a world champion. There's no way. There's no way you want to be a world champion. He could have fought anybody, Breezy, in that. I'm not saying even fight a champion. He could have fought anybody. He could have fought Jordan Thompson. You know, he could have fought Gilberto. He could have fought Lyndon Art. He could have fought anybody. You know what I'm saying? And we would have gave him some credit. But I mean, let's be real, Breezy. Since Ryan Borland and Andre August, what has he done to even take these steps?
Y'all know that song that got advertised on the news one time? Hide your kids, hide your grandpas, hide your uncles, hide your dads, hide your grandpas, because Jake Paul is on the hunt. You know how they went hunting back then for deers? This man goes out at the sole time of the day. What he do? He get his contract with him. He going to the bingo halls. And he just be sitting there. You think he about to play some bingo? Nah, he's scoping for his next opponent. He probably scoping for his next opponent as we speak.
Clarissa Shields, you know how you want to fight guys? Well, listen, Clarissa, all right? Give it about 20 years when you're in your 50s or 60s. Jake Paul will call you out and you will get that shot. All right. When you're in your 50s and 60s, you will get that shot. You think it's just grandpa's. It's going to get to grandma's next, bro. Like, this guy ain't stopping. He's not stopping, bro. He's not stopping until he takes out the whole funeral home. He's not stopping until he takes out the whole retirement home. He ain't stopping until he digs some boxer's body back up from the grave and goes fight him just to say he knocked him out. Like, he ain't stopping, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. And look, all those are jokes. I am dead serious about this. Ready? Ready? I would not be surprised if he comes out in the future and says, I want to fight Julio Cesar Chavez, the father. I will not be surprised. And I will not be surprised if Julio Cesar Chavez takes that fight. I will not be surprised. And that's a real prediction. That's a real statement. That's not me joking. I will not be surprised one bit. He pisses off Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya, I'm like, step out one more time and try to handle that situation himself. But regardless of that, Jake Paul will never fight Jai Opetaia. He's never going to fight Billiam Smith with the way it's going. He's not going to fight any of those top cruiserweights, not Bato Jack. You know, it's not happening, bro. So this is what we got to expect from Jake Paul. And again, we will stop trashing him. We will stop being so hard on him. All he has to say is, my goal is not to be a world champion. That's it. That's it. That's all you got to say, bro. And you know what? You get all the respect back from us. Okay, he can talk all the talk he wants. All right, but this thing about taking risks is crazy because you could have climbed the ranks already. With the amount of time that it's taken you to set this fight up, in about a year or two, you could have climbed the ranks, gotten a shot, maybe at Jai Opetaia, maybe at Billiam Smith, and possibly could have been a world champion. But are we getting that? Nah. Instead, all we're getting is Platinum Mike Perry, grandfather Mike Tyson, and a bunch of other retired UFC fighters. That's all we're getting. So, you know what? If he's cool with that, fine. But I don't ever want to hear Jake Paul say he wants to be a world champion ever again. I don't want to hear it. You know? So the next big fight we're going to be talking about with Mike Tyson, it's not going to be a title fight. It's going to be him versus KSI or him versus Tommy Fury, too. That's the next one. Or him versus grandfather Mike Tyson, Grandpa Tyson over here. But with that being said, look, I do want you guys to know that it pains us to talk about Jake Paul. It truly pains us to talk about Jake Paul because we don't want to talk about Jake Paul, but we have to because this is boxing news. I can't go on ESPN and see the headlines and the top thing is Jake Paul fighting Mike Perry. I don't want that to be my top boxing headline. All right. I wanted to talk about Devin Haney, but we're going to wait for that, which, by the way, be on the lookout for that as well because that's a very interesting topic coming up. I know you guys are going to be saying Devin Haney's a real boring fighter, but be on the lookout for that, okay? I think that's a very interesting topic that once it gets further, we definitely want to touch up on. But obviously, we're here to talk about Mr. Disney Channel, Mr. It's Everyday Bro, the undisputed champ of the bingo halls, the undisputed champ of the retirement homes, the undisputed champ at the senior citizen line at the restaurant. You know, I mean, we're talking about Jake Paul. So with that being said, Breezy, since you started the episode, would you like to end it?
One more thing before I gotta say, how'd your grandpa's? Nah, but y'all already know what it is. He's the you undisputed bingo hall champion of the world. But other than that, though, y'all know the deal is. He said be on the lookout for the Devin Haney episode. Be on the lookout for that. If you don't be on the lookout for that, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something about it. Y'all better be on the lookout for that episode. And y'all better be watching these episodes, the full episodes. And you better be watching the previous episodes and the episode before that and the episode before that and all the other episodes. You better be watching them because we are the Punchers Point and we're active every week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and some Saturdays. Be on the lookout for updates, post-fight reactions, and all that good stuff. But unlike Jake Paul, we ain't gonna hit your grandpa. But we're going to make sure y'all hit that like button. Still on point with the Punchers Point.